Let's talk about money. What if I told you that the normal way of handling your finances, the way most people do it, is actually designed to keep you broke? It's a pretty wild thought, right? But so many of our common money habits are just traps in disguise. So today, we're going to uncover the key mindsets that might just be holding you back.
First, let's just start with a pretty sobering fact. As of September 2025, almost half of all Americans, that's 49%, are living paycheck to paycheck. Just let that sink in for a second. That means 1 out of every 2 people you see is basically one flat tire away from a financial crisis. This isn't just some statistic, it's the reality for millions of people.
And that leads us to this really powerful and yet maybe a little uncomfortable idea. If living paycheck to paycheck is the reality for half the country, well then what does that say about being normal? It means normal is broke. So this is where we have to ask ourselves a tough question. Is trying to be normal with your money the very thing that's keeping you stuck? Let's dig into why being a little different, a little weird, might just be your ticket to actually getting ahead.
I mean, think about it, right? If the average person is struggling, you absolutely do not want to be average. You want to be weird. You want to be different. And that means you have to actively choose to do things that most people just don't. Like rejecting the idea that your paycheck is just a temporary visitor before it gets shipped out to 8 different loan payments.
And that brings us right to the first major myth. This one is so deeply ingrained in our culture we barely even see it anymore. It's the idea that debt is a useful, heck, even a necessary tool to get ahead in life.
We're all sold this story about good debt, student loans for a great education, a car loan to get to work. But let's get real for a second. The hard truth is that debt is just a claim on your future income. Every single dollar you owe is a dollar you've already spent from a paycheck you haven't even earned yet. It literally chains your future self to your past decisions. You've heard the old saying, the borrower is slave to the lender. It's still true. And this gets to the heart of a huge mindset shift. Someone who's broke asks, can I afford the monthly payment? But someone who's building wealth asks a totally different question. Can I actually afford the item? Confusing those two is like one of the fastest ways to stay stuck forever. Shifting your focus from the payment to the total price, that is a total game changer.
All right, so that leads us directly into our second myth, the rewards trap. Oh man, we all hear this one. We're told we're leaving money on the table if we don't play the credit card points game. It feels so smart, like we're hacking the system. But who is really getting hacked here?
There's some fascinating psychology going on here. Swiping a credit card feels kind of fake, right? Like you're playing with the bank's money. But when you use your debit card, that money is gone from your account, instantly. You feel it. That tiny mental difference is so powerful, and it's why study after study shows that people spend way more when they pay with a credit card. And this is exactly why it's a trap. First, you have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars just to get any rewards that are even worth it. But more importantly, that extra money you spend just because you're using a card, it almost always wipes out the value of any points you earn. So, who really wins this game? The banks. Every single time.
All right, let's tackle our third and final myth. And honestly, this is a big one. It's something that we're told is a cornerstone of the American dream, the standard 30-year mortgage. But have you ever actually stopped to do the math? I mean, to really ask yourself what that 30-year loan is going to cost you over its entire life? Because I'll tell you, the answer is usually pretty shocking.
Okay, let's just break down the raw numbers here. Let's say you've got a $400,000 home. That 30-year mortgage looks tempting, right? The monthly payment is lower. But look at the total interest paid, over $408,000. That's insane. You are paying more in interest than the house is even worth. Now, look at the 15-year loan. Yeah, the payment is higher, but the total interest you're just handing over to the bank plummets to just over $158,000. The difference between those two choices is this number, $250,000. That is how much of your own money you get to keep simply by paying your home off in half the time. Let me say that again, $250,000. That's not just a number on a screen, that is life-changing money. So we've just busted some huge myths, that debt is a tool, that credit card rewards are some smart hack, and that a 30-year mortgage is always the best choice. But look, the point of all this isn't to make you feel bad about past choices, it's to empower you for the future. Because once you see the truth behind these things, you can start making different choices. So the key takeaway here is this. You are in the driver's seat. You're in control of your financial life. Breaking free from normal isn't about depriving yourself, it's about being intentional. It's about rejecting the habits that are designed to keep you paying someone else, so you can finally start paying yourself first. It's your money, it's your future, and it's your choice. So the question I want to leave you with is, are you ready to be a little weird to build a life you truly love?